Hello everybody, this is Lila in Hawaii. Seems to be a fairly quiet Sunday here, so I thought I'd do some recording. Sometimes it's a bit noisy and the birds are always outside my window chirping away. They're not too bad today. Anyway, I've been making some tags with stamps and I thought maybe I would make a little video of how I do them. I'll give you a little example of some of them first. This one is made with some old book page, actually, with the background, and there's the stamp, and I stitch around it onto card with some French script on it, and then put a little tab at the top, and then down at the bottom. On this one I put a little fabric patch, so that's one idea. I also did this kind, which is the cover really of a book, or it could be a greeting card, because I found a sticker that said "Welcome to my birthday," and I just covered the back of it with some dyed card, and then here's the stamp on here. In this case I didn't stitch around the actual stamp, I just stitched around the card, so that's another way I do them. I also do them sometimes like this, which is the stamp is actually stitched around onto the back of a card that a friend sent me, and it happened to be a New Zealand card, old card of the city of Christchurch, so I used the reverse side and put a little scrunched up silk ribbon button and some lace there. A lot of my stamps are New Zealand stamps because I get mail from New Zealand, so that's how that came about. Anyway, let me see. This is another fairly plain, this is a Dutch stamp on this one, and I just didn't stitch the stamp itself, just outlined it with some fabric and some card. Here's one that hasn't been stitched yet, and I collaged some things, some tissue that I had. I'd made that tissue. A bird, some French script, and a stamp. Another one. This is similar idea. This one is the similar idea. The stamp is applied to a background. Sometimes I use a fabric background. And let me see, what else was I going to show you? Oh, I have three that I'm doing onto music, and this one is going to be a Christmas card, so I made some special painted decoration for the bottom and a little image of a girl, and it's attached to music, and I'll be stitching around that one. This one I haven't added the stamp to. I found a cathedral window, and then I put some music and old script, and I'm going to find a suitable stamp to put on that one, and here I have just made a fabric tab at the top. This one is a Christmas, New Zealand Christmas stamp, and I had this kind of pretty background card. I put a little piece of fabric here with a button, or I think it's a bead. This one is a little girl also. She's on a music-backed tab, and pretty much the same with this one. The only difference is I used some tracing paper, or I think actually it's from a paper pattern, dress pattern. Now, I did dye a whole lot of tabs the other day. I just used my old coffee left over from the morning, cut up all kinds of paper. Actually, it's not very thick, but it's thick enough. It seemed to thicken, and then I let it dry in the sun, and that also seems to thicken it up. So I just cut a whole bunch of those, so I'll be using those. Now I'm just going to show you how I would go about one. This one, first of all I'm going to show you one of my boxes of stamps. These ones I haven't soaked off the background, and then this lot I pretty much soaked off the background. And these ones tend to be more foreign stamps, whereas this box seems to be more New Zealand stamps, but there are some foreign stamps there as well. And I've just collected these from various places when I've travelled or so forth. Now if I'm going to put this one on, I've already adhered a little bit of glue and put it on some background fabric. It's some old fabric I rust dyed, and not sure where the fabric's gone. I think it's gone there. So I took some fabric and rust dyed it quite a little while ago, but it makes a nice background for certain things. So I've done that much. The first thing I'm going to do is apply this to a card, or some card stock, I should say. Now I just want a little bit of the card peeking, and not too much. Just going to take a small amount off there. That was off folder, I think. And on my machine I have a sort of an olive green thread today. I like to make the stitch a little bit longer, and then to sew it, I'm going to sew first, figure out if I want to sew on the stamp. Yes, I do. So I'm going to do that before I do anything else. I'm going to sew the stamp to the fabric. Not real organized today, it's Sunday. And I did have a busy work day yesterday. Okay, so I'm just going around the stamp. Some stamps don't lend themselves too well to stitching. Some of them are kind of old and fragile. So, I just play it by ear. So that one's sewn to that. Now I'm going to add it to this cardstock and sew around again. This time I'm sewing on the fabric. I've decided I'm going to leave the threads hanging, so I'm sort of pulling them out of the way if I can. I didn't leave much cardstock on one side, but that's okay because these are eclectic. So there's that one done, and it actually, the word is that way, but I like it this way, of course, because the image is this way. Now I've sewn it, as far as I'm concerned, that's fine. It could also go on a tag. Let me see if I can find a tag. Yeah. This could go on a tag. Actually, that's probably not wide enough. One of my tags that I made yesterday. For some reason or other, I'm not drinking as much coffee as I used to. So I always make a pot of coffee and then think, oh no, I've got a lot left. Okay, so I'm going to add that to that. And I'm not going to add any background, but I'm going to put a tab on it. So I'm just going to sew it again. I like this one. I like this stamp. A lot of the stamps are quite colourful. It's not as easy to find something that's more muted. And when I soak them off the background paper, which I don't always do because sometimes I like the paper, but if it's something mundane, I'll soak it off, and I just literally put the stamps in a bowl of water and then put them out upside down to dry. Okay, so I've sewn that to that. Now I'm going to put a little tab here, and I was thinking, since I used this, see, I'm already in a mess. Since I used this before, I'm going to take a piece of that to make my tab. So I'm going to use that, kind of like that. And this time I'm going to stitch right around the whole edge of the card. Okay, here we go. way this one's turning out. I like the rust. I should do some more rusting. Sort of eco-dyeing, I guess you'd call it. My pronunciation. Oh dear. Okay. I do like things that are dyed naturally. I think it's very, very charming, more organic. So often I will leave things outside. And I've made those rust bundles that you leave out for 6 months, but then I get tired of waiting for them. Okay, so this is done. So now there it is, and there's the tab on the top, and there's the stamp. So that's another idea. Now this one is an idea taken from this. This one, part of that postcard from New Zealand, so I cut into 3 pieces. And on 2 of the pieces, I used the back of the card that had script. But on this, I'm going to use the actual picture of the city of Christchurch, New Zealand, because I like that. I thought that was rather cool. And I already made a little background piece of fabric. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew that. Maybe my machine needs oiling. I do keep it cleaned and oiled. I am pretty good at that. So when it starts to get a little noisy, I know it's time. Okay, so I've done that. Now that's going to go on here. And my machine bobbin, I know, has run out because I knew it was going to run out. So I've got another one all ready to go. I'm just going to put another, just using white in the bobbin. And I'm using, as I said, olive green. This time I've used black. And I've used cream, or sort of a bisque color. So that's that. Now, back to this. I'm now going to sew that to the background, which was an old postcard from New Zealand. I must say this dulls the needle, machine needle, so I won't be able to sew any fabric until I change needles. I can tell it's quite blunt. Okay, not as blunt though that it's ruining everything. Okay, so this is onto the background of the postcard. Now I've got to decide what I'm going to do with that, and I think I am, let me think, what am I going to do with that? Well, I've got a little piece of silk that the same friend from Australia sent me, and she also sent me the postcard. So I'm going to put, just since she sent me that, I'm going to sew a little tab on of the silk she sent me. Just going to sew it there. Just at the bottom. It's just a little patch really. So you really just build these up however you like. And I tend to look for scraps and things, and I'm not too fussy about how it looks as far as the stitching. If it's a little cattywampus, that's okay. Okay, so now I've put the little piece of hand-dyed silk she gave me, because this is pretty much everything is from Australia. And then at the top I think it needs something. Now I could put a tab of that. Maybe that would be good. I often punch a hole too in the top. Now this is a little tricky, so I'm going to put a dab of glue just to hold the back of it. There, because it's so slippery. So put a little dab of glue at the back, and I'm just going to fold that to make a little tiny tab. Then I'm going to continue stitching right around. See how it turns out. And another thing I do is I ink the edges. That's the other thing I was going to mention. Not always, but sometimes I think it defines the picture more, or the card more, or, you know, it just depends really. Okay, so I'm going to have to, you know, figure out a way to kind of cut some of the threads and leave some of them. But anyway, that's one, and that is, for me, that's representative of New Zealand with a little bit of Australia, like we're twins of the South Pacific. The other one that I did was the other side of the card, that old postcard. So I've already put a New Zealand stamp of some sort of a guinea hen or something on there. And so this one, I've glued the stamp on, and I think what I'm going to do is not stitch the stamp. I'm just going to make sure it's adhered well, and I'm just going to outline, just for a change. And this time, first of all, I'm just going to outline it. And I didn't do that too good. Okay, so I've done that. So I just outlined the stamp. Didn't stitch on the stamp this time. Now the next thing is to add a little bit of something else to the top of it. And I want to add a patch or something to it. Let me see. I have a little bit of this daisy trim. So I think I'm going to put that on it. Don't know why. It doesn't make any sense to anyone except to me. Okay, so I'll put the daisy trim on it there. I'm just going to cut some threads off that too. Okay. Okay, so there's that. So far that's the way it is. A little bit of daisy trim, the stamp, stitching. Now, I'm going to cut that off, and I decided on this one, I'm going to make it into a proper tab. In other words, I'm going to make the top like that. And I'm going to, let me see, I've got all kinds of things stashed in here. See if I can find something that fits. I can't use anything French. I have a lot of French things. And no. Nothing there. I don't see anything else there. So, next thing is, I've already cut the top like that, so I need to punch a hole. Actually, I'm going to put a little bit of material, a little bit of this fabric as another patch on it. Just going to do it here, I think. Instead of punching a hole, I've decided I'm going to put a little bit of this homespun. See how that works out. Kind of tricky to it's a bit tricky. I have to wait till the glue just adheres a little better. Okay, I think that's it. So I'm going right around the edge. This is going to be a tag or a tab. These are nice in journals because you can make them into tack spots. You can also insert them into pockets or just glue them to the page too for decoration. I've done quite a bit of that. Okay, so I think that's it. I'm just going to stop. So anyway, I'll show you some of them again. This is the one I just did. It's on the back of an old postcard. And I've got another 2 postcards here that my friend sent me, this one. And if they have nice script on the back, I'll use the back often. This one is not scripted, so this one would be difficult to use for this. Then this one is a Christmas card, and that has some nice script on it. I wouldn't use this side, I'd use this side of that one. Okay, so here's selection. This one, just real quick. This one I did just now. This was done before. Haven't finished this one yet. Here's another idea. Just showing you quickly some ideas because I don't want to make this too long. That one I showed you before, that's part of that postcard. This is the one I did on camera. This one, these with the music. They all need to be embellished and stitched. And I think that's pretty much, oh, there's one other style I did. I had a postcard of a gypsy lady, so I've put a stamp and she's playing a musical instrument, so there's a little music there, so I'll be stitching that too. Have not done that yet. And then another idea was this. So thank you for watching, and maybe you can make some of those with Christmas stamps on. Make them for Christmas. Bye now.